What's good, cuz? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be making our updated 2021 NFL playoff predictions for the divisional round and beyond. We're going to see which ones we got right from the wild card game and which predictions we got wrong from the wild card weekend, and then we're going to make our new predictions based off of the new matchup. So if you guys are excited for the video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. This is the first video you're seeing from me, but without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get it.
Minika, watch me on Twitch, ooh, I'm streaming. I'm on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, red button beaming. Let's get that sub count, take over YouTube, ooh, we teaming. My content so high, ooh, yeah, I'm steaming. Ooh, yeah, I'm steaming, red button beaming.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be making our divisional round picks and beyond for the rest of the 2021 NFL playoffs. But first, we are going to be looking at the picks that I made last week for the wild card round and see how that changes the matchups that I made based off of my first prediction video. If you haven't seen that, put a link for that in the description below. Go check out my full predictions. But here we are. These are the picks that I made in the wild card round this past weekend. I got 5 out of 6 games right, which is pretty nice. I got the Ravens correct, the Bills correct, the Buccaneers predicted the upset with the Rams over the Seahawks. A lot of people gave me some hate for that, but it wound up coming true, which was nice. And the Saints rolled the Bears. Now, one game that I did get wrong. Which game was it? It was the Browns and Steelers. I did not see that coming from the Cleveland Browns. I'll be the first to admit it. Not that I didn't think the Browns were a good team, but I thought the Steelers would play better with Big Ben getting some rest, but they turned the ball over way too much. When you do that, you're going to lose playoff football. So we're going to go ahead and fix the Browns winning that game, and then we're going to go into the divisional round and look at the new set of matchups. Okay, so here we are in the new divisional round matchups, and the NFC is going to look exactly the way as I predicted it in my last video, because I predicted these exact matchups and the exact winners from the NFC games last week. So we'll start off with the NFC just because it's going to be easy. It's going to be the same picks that I made last week's video. I am going to go with the Buccaneers against the Saints. I'm going to pick the Buccaneers in this game. I do not think Tom Brady gets swept 3-0 in a series against Drew Brees this year. The Saints have a stacked roster, probably the best roster in the league, but I think Tampa Bay is going to finally have their number and finally get that win. They're 5-0 after the bye. Tom Brady has been on a whole nother level, leading the league in touchdowns since his bye week, which was, I think, week 12 or 13. They've played 5 games since, including the playoff game that they played against the football team, which they honestly played well in. They scored 31 points, which is really nice because that Washington defense is pretty good, and the offensive line held up pretty well for Tom Brady. He was able to get the ball down the field. They were able to execute on the plays that they needed to do. They scored a lot of points. And I think as long as the defense can hold the Saints a little bit, because I didn't think the Saints offense looked that good against the Bears, I think the Buccaneers could win this game as long as they protect Tom Brady. They keep the pass protection pretty nice, allow him to get the ball where he needs to put it. And I think Tampa Bay will win this game. Okay, so now we have the Packers and the Rams, and like I said last week, I think this will be pretty simple for the Packers to win. I know I picked the Rams upsetting the Seahawks last week, but I think that's because they match up with them so often because they're in the same division. They see a lot of the Seahawks. They know what they were expected to do, and Ramsey on Metcalf is just a really good matchup, even though Metcalf did kind of go off. Surprisingly, I think he got me like 26 DraftKings points. I actually wound up picking him. He did have a good game against Ramsey, but not really when it mattered. Some of that was garbage time stats, but works in fantasy. But like I'm saying, the defense of the Rams is something that gives Aaron Rodgers trouble. If you go back to last year's NFC Championship game with the 49ers, you know, when you're able to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, sometimes he does make mistakes. This year, he's been really good and really clean with the football, hasn't turned the ball over a lot at all. So the Rams are really going to have to send a ton of pressure if they want Aaron Rodgers to turn the ball over. That's the only way I think they'll be able to win it. I'm not sure what the temperature is going to look like in Lambeau Field, but I'm sure it's going to be cold. Cam Akers did play like a beast against the Seahawks, so I don't know what the situation is with Jared Goff. I don't know how healthy he is. He didn't look that great throwing the football, so unless they're able to just run a ton of the Packers, which the Packers don't have a great run defense, so they possibly could do that, they're going to need to get some turnovers on Aaron Rodgers if they have any chance to win this game, and Cam Akers is going to have to run the ball very well. But I'm going with the Packers. Okay, so now we head over to the AFC side, and the AFC is completely different now than where I had it last week because the Ravens did win, which was nice, but the Browns wind up winning against the Steelers, so they become the lowest seed. Originally, I had the Chiefs playing Baltimore and the Chiefs winning, and I had the Bills playing the Steelers with the Bills winning, but now it is going to be the 5-seeded Ravens going to Buffalo, and then it's going to be the 6-seeded Browns going to the Chiefs. Okay, so the next game we have here for the AFC side is the 5-seeded Ravens going to the 2-seeded Bills. Last week, the Bills get their first playoff win in about 20 years or so. I think this is like 1995. This is the first game that they won in the playoffs. And the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, finally getting his first playoff win in the league. So that narrative has now been shut down that he can't win a playoff game. So this is going to be fun. Two very hot teams. The Ravens have been on fire. They are running the ball over everybody. They're able to stop Derrick Henry last week and beat the Titans. And the Bills played pretty good against the Colts. I think they could have played better, especially defensively. I think the Colts got into Buffalo territory, I think, on all of their drives last week, except the Hail Mary that they threw at the end, so I'm not going to count that one. But this is going to be a very fun game. This might be the best game of the weekend. Low-key, I think a lot of people are going to be centered around this Buccaneers-Saints game, or maybe just seeing how the underdog Browns are going to do against the Chiefs, but I think this is going to be the sneaky best game of the weekend. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think Lamar's going to be running all over the place. Dobbins is going to be running all over the place. And then Allen and Diggs and Beasley and all those guys. It's going to be a fun game. This is going to be close, but I'm going to pick an upset here. I am going to go with the Ravens based off of how they've been coached. They've been there before. The Bills, they got their first win. Are they able to get another one? You don't know. I'm sorry, Bills Mafia. I'm going with Lamar Jackson, last year's best player in the league, last year's MVP. I think he's back in that form. I think the offense is clicking. They're getting the passing game going, and they played well on defense against the Titans in the run game especially. I know the Bills like to throw it and air it out a lot more, but if they're able to get so good pressure on Allen and play good against the pass, I think they could definitely win this game by running the ball and keeping it out of Josh Allen's hands. Okay, last game of the divisional round, and Browns fans, you guys must be super excited to be here right now, beating your divisional rival Pittsburgh in the wild card round. A lot of people counted you out, including me. They did not expect you to win that game at all, but now you have to go play Kansas City in Kansas City. The 1-seeded Chiefs, they've been on bye. Mahomes hasn't played in a couple weeks. I think he rested week 17, so he hasn't played in 3 weeks by the time this game kicks off. So I think that whole team is going to be a little rusty. But with that being said, I think they're still the best team in the league. I think Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the league. They have the best offense. I don't know how their defense is going to play, so Cleveland could definitely run the ball on them and definitely run that play action. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game as well, but I think the Chiefs are going to be too much for the Browns to handle. The Browns are nicely getting that experience, which is awesome. They get playoff experience. They get a playoff win under their belt. So next year, I think this is going to be a great year for them coming up. They get Odell back. If they could work him back into the lineup, who knows what they do in the draft. But I think the Browns have a bright future, but I don't think it's this year. And I think the Chiefs will win this game by probably over a touchdown or so. Okay, so conference championship weekend, and we have 2 more games before the Super Bowl, and both 5 seeds have made it to the conference championship game to go visit. They're both respected number 1 seeds in the Chiefs and the Packers. So we're going to start with the AFC side. So we have the 5-seeded Baltimore Ravens going to the number 1 seeded Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs, after they blow out Cleveland, in my prediction, I think their offense will be back to full form. They might be a little rusty coming out of their bye in the 2 weeks they've had off, but I think by this time, the conference championship game, they'll be clicking back on all cylinders. That's if they even miss a beat in the divisional game against Cleveland, which might not even be the case because they're so good. And they play Baltimore, who I think is one of the hottest teams in the league right now, if not the hottest. So this is going to be a fun game as well and a very offensive game, but the Ravens love to run the football. That is no secret. They love to run. They love to run it with Dobbins, and they love to run it with Lamar. Gus Edwards is a great change of pace back. You know, he's a big body, comes in there. J.K. Dobbins catches passes. But they're not one to throw the ball, 30 or 40 times a game. But when you play Kansas City, if Kansas City is making those explosive plays all over the field and running up the score on you, you're not going to be able to run the ball for so long. And I think that's why the Ravens always have trouble with the Chiefs, because the Ravens are never able to hold the Chiefs on defense. So the Chiefs are always able to score so many points when they play them that Lamar has to get out of his comfort zone, pass the ball a ton. He could pass the ball, a bit, but he's not used to passing the ball 30, 40 times a game, and that's where he struggles, so you don't want to do that. But with that being said, I think that's going to be the game script for the Ravens. I think at some point they're going to have to come out of the run game. They're going to have to start airing the ball out, and I think the Chiefs will be able to capitalize and win this game pretty handily as well. I think this is where the Ravens, meet their match. They get to the conference championship, though, which is awesome for them and Lamar and, that team's morale, and we'll see what they do next year if they start off hot. Maybe get an explosive wide receiver on the outside for Lamar to use. But I think the Chiefs, keep it going and move on to the Super Bowl and look to repeat. Okay, the conference championship game that I predicted on the NFC side originally, in this prediction, it still stays to fruition because we have the same NFC side in the divisional round. So we have the 5-seeded Buccaneers going to the 1-seeded Green Bay Packers. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Playoff football between two of the best quarterbacks of all time. We're getting a great game here in the NFC Championship. Tom Brady going to Lambeau Field, never played a playoff game there before. It's going to be cold, could even be snowing. He's played in the cold before, but nothing crazy. He's never played in a snow game, I don't think. Actually, no, he did play against Oakland and Foxborough, but other than that, I don't think he's ever played a snow game in the playoffs before. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. I'm not perfect, I don't remember. But with that being said, this is going to be a fun game. I don't think we have any really great defenses left in the playoffs with these conference championship games between these four teams, but we have four amazing offenses. Like I was saying before, the Buccaneers offense since their bye week has been #1 in passing touchdowns and 5-0 coming off the bye. And if they move on to the conference championship game, that means they're 6-0 after their bye, and they've been one of the hottest teams in the league, especially in the NFC side. But they've played somebody who's so consistent in Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, Davante Adams, Aaron Jones. Those guys have been playing good all year. They've never had a hiccup. They did actually lose to the Buccaneers, though, somewhere in the middle of the season. I don't remember exactly which week they lost to the Buccaneers down in Tampa, but since that time, there's a whole different animal. You're in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is probably going to win MVP. I'd say he's got a 90% chance to win it. And I think this is where Aaron Rodgers playing his first championship game in Lambeau Field for the first time in his career. I think that they beat the Buccaneers, and I'm going to say it's going to be Aaron Rodgers against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Okay, last but not least, we have Super Bowl 55 in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay. It's a shame the Buccaneers didn't make it here in that prediction to play the first ever home Super Bowl for a team to play in their home stadium, but nonetheless, we have Chiefs, Packers, both 1 seeds, both teams that are expected to get to the Super Bowl, and both teams that need and want to win the Super Bowl. The Chiefs want to cement their dynasty, or at least the beginning of it, with 2 straight Super Bowls, and Aaron Rodgers needs his second ring if he wants to be considered the best, or one of the best, quarterbacks of all time. Hasn't made it back to the Super Bowl since 2010. He's got a ton to prove here. He has a ton to gain on his resume by winning this game. Patrick Mahomes could cement himself as probably the best quarterback for his age of all time, having 2 Super Bowls at this point. An MVP could have 2 Super Bowl MVPs if he wins it in this game. This is going to be probably the best Super Bowl we could have had if both of these teams make it here, which is what I want this game to be. I think it'd be so fun. Both of these offenses are so explosive, and people are saying, Patrick Mahomes is the next Aaron Rodgers, or Patrick Mahomes is going to be better than Aaron Rodgers. That's who they compare him to all the time. With that being said, which team has the better offense? I don't know. It could go either way. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, they match up pretty nicely, 1 and 2 in MVP. Then you got Davante Adams, and you have Aaron Jones on Green Bay. Very good running back, very good wide receiver, probably the best wide receiver in the league, and a top 5 running back in the league. Then you have on the Kansas City side, you have the best tight end in the league in Travis Kelce, or you could say too, if you think George Kittle is better, but I think Kelce is better. Then you have Tyreek Hill, probably the second or third best wide receiver in the game when it comes to explosive plays and, just breaking the game in one play. You never know what's going to happen when he gets the ball in his hands. These offenses are going to be awesome. And the defenses, they both have playmakers on their defenses, but they're not amazing. You have Jair Alexander, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the league this year for sure. And then on the Kansas City side, you have Tyrann Mathieu, who's one of the best safeties in the league. And you have, Frank Clark, Chris Jones on that side. They just have playmakers all over the place, both on offense and on defense, but more on the offensive side. I think this is going to be an offensive game. I think both of these quarterbacks are going to shred the opposing defenses. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I would be curious to see who the favorite would be in this game in terms of sports betting. I don't know who they would give the advantage here to. I'd say probably the Chiefs by like a point or 2. It could even be a pick-em. I really don't know if both of these teams make it here. It'd be a pretty crazy spread. But with that being said, I have to make my pick here. I like both of these teams, and I predicted this originally, so I'm going to stick with my prediction. I'm not changing it yet. And I am going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Green Bay Packers here in Super Bowl 55. So that's my prediction. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I hope you guys are happy about my prediction. You Chief fans, I'm sorry, Packer fans, or anybody else that I voted off in this prediction video. Maybe you guys will win it next year, or maybe you'll win it this year. I could be wrong. You know, I'm not perfect. So if you guys think your team will win, in the comments down below, let me know who that team is. But if you guys enjoy my prediction video, I would greatly appreciate if you guys could drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I'll be making an updated prediction every single week until the Super Bowl. So if you guys don't want to miss that, you know, you make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on my social media accounts, including my Twitter, where we talk about the games live. So if you guys want to talk to me about the games while they're going on, you know, make sure to go follow me over there. But that's going to do it for me today, guys. I will hope to see you guys in the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Peace out.